So hello friends, welcome back. In this video I'm going to discuss about the two main architectures of the computer system. The first one is the von Neumann architecture and the second one is the Harvard architecture. And I will also discuss one important point which usually most of the people don't talk about, and that is this von Neumann bottleneck, right? So let's start the video. So first of all we discuss about the von Neumann architecture. It is also called the Princeton architecture, right? So what happens in this architecture, basically the single memory is allotted for the program instructions and the data, right? Single memory for program instructions and the data are stored in the same memory space. Now, what are the program instructions? So basically, whatever the commands you give to the CPU, which are usually written in the C language, Python language, or any other language, like if you write here, uh, let's say that. Suppose if I write int a is equal to 5, int b is equal to 6, and if I write int c is equal to a plus b, right? So these are the three instructions I will be given to the CPU, right? So it is called the program instructions. Okay. So storing the 5 and 6 in a and b variables are the program instructions. Okay, these are the program instructions, and 5 or 6, 5 and 6 are the actual data you are giving to the CPU, right? So these all three steps are the program instructions, and the actual data which you are passing to the variables a and b are the data, right? So single memory is allotted to the program instruction and the data, and a single bus, basically one bus is used for the instructions as well as the data fetching. Now you might confuse at the first sight that the single bus is used, but actually there are two buses here, like you can see here. First one is a data bus and the other one is an address. But why I'm listing here single bus, because both type of buses, data bus as well as a address bus, are used for fetching the program and the data, right? So I will discuss this figure later after discussing all these 5 points. So let's come on to the third point, sequential execution. So CPU cannot fetch the data and the instruction at the same time, right? Because the single memory space is allocated for the program as well as the data, right? So this outer box is representing the same memory block for both the program and the data, right? So CPU cannot fetch data and instruction at the same time, and this creates a bottleneck situation, right? Also known as a von Neumann bottleneck. So basically, bottleneck you can understand like a narrow opening, like, so this is a narrow opening you can understand. And suppose someone is coming from here, like you can see a traffic is coming from here, and the path is getting narrower along this side, right? So it will be very difficult for the traffic to pass through it. Okay. So this is a bottleneck here. So same type of situation also arises in this kind of architecture, von Neumann architecture. Okay. So obviously it will be slower because the instruction and the data cannot be fetched simultaneously, right? So examples like most general purpose computers uses this architecture, like your PCs, your laptops, desktops, right? So it is a very common type of architecture we are usually using these days. Okay. So this outer box is representing the same memory block as I listed here, same memory space. Okay. And both the data bus and the address bus used for the program as well as the data. Okay. Now let us discuss uh, how the fetching and instruction and fetching the or storing the data actually happens. So basically CPU, first of all, let us discuss fetching and instruction. So the first point is CPU places the instruction address on the address bus. Okay. Suppose the instruction address is 0x1234. So CPU places this address on the address bus, and the instruction bits come back over the data bus. Suppose this instruction compiles to 0 1 1 0 1 1 1 0. This kind of byte you can consider as the execution of this instruction, right? So these sorry okay. So this instruction might compile to this byte. Okay, so the instruction bits, these are the instruction bits, okay, come back over the data bus, right? So in these two steps the fetching of instruction takes place. Now let us discuss how the fetching of or the storing data happens. So here also these are the 2 points. CPU first places the data address on the address bus, and after that the data comes or go over the data bus. Okay, but these two operations, like this one in the instruction fetching and this one in the fetching or storing the data, cannot happen simultaneously because the same buses are shared. Okay, same address bus is using to fetch the instruction address or the carry the instruction address, and same address bus is being used here to carry the data address. So that is why these two one to one points and these 2 points, okay, 2 and 2 of this cannot happen simultaneously, okay, because the same buses are involved to carry the addresses and the data. Okay, that is why I mentioned here the data bus and the address bus. Okay, single address bus and single data bus. Now let us discuss, I will discuss the hardware architecture in later. First of all, let us discuss how the address bus is used for fetching the instruction and data, and how data bus is used for instruction and the data. Please note that this is only for the von Neumann architecture only. Okay. So address bus is used for instruction to fetch the instruction address. Okay. So this is the instruction address 0x1234, and address bus is used for data to access the variable address. Okay, suppose I defined here the variables a and b, so they will also occupy some memory in the memory space or the address in the memory space. Okay, so address bus is used for data to access these variable addresses a, b and c. Okay, a and b and c. Now let us discuss how the data bus is used to fetch for instruction and the data. So data bus is used to carry the instruction bits for the instruction. So these are the instruction bits 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0. Okay. And data bus is used for the data to carry the actual data value. So in this example, these are the actual data value 5 and 6. Okay. So in this way, the address bus and the data bus are being used in the von Neumann architecture only. Now let us discuss the Harvard architecture. So in von Neumann architecture, a single memory block, this is a single memory block, is being shared in both the program instruction and the data instruction, right? But in the Harvard architecture, what we see here, the program memory space and the data memory space are separate. Like you can see here, both the memory space are being separated from here. So separate memory for the instruction and the data, and separate buses are used for the program memory as well as the data memory. Like you can see here, dedicated buses are used for both kind of memories. Data bus, separate data bus for program, separate data bus for data, and separate address bus for program instructions, and separate address bus for the data memory, right? So this is the difference between the Harvard architecture and the von Neumann architecture. And it allows you to parallel execution, right, faster due to parallel access to instruction and data memory. So it is very obvious that you can access data from the data memory, and you can also fetch program from the program memory, because there are separate buses for doing this operation. So Harvard architecture allows you to execute parallel operations. Okay, and it also improves the speed as well as the performance because of the parallel execution. Examples include like your this kind of architecture is used in the microcontrollers, DSPs, and the embedded systems. Okay, so the system where you have to deal with the real-time constraints like your embedded system, digital electronics, and microcontrollers, where we use this kind of architecture. Okay, Harvard architecture. So these are the some of the points related to both of these kinds of architecture. If you have any doubt in your mind, you can comment down below. I will try to answer that, right? So thanks for watching this video.